On folks, CJ here. So on my way, I'm like leaving, going home. So Ta-nehisi Coates. Let's talk about this. So Ta-nehisi Coates. Well, there's been a rumor. So Ta-nehisi Coates, right? If you're not familiar with him, he's a political writer. He writes on a lot of subjects and stuff, in particularly dealing with race in America and things like that. He wrote a book called When We Were 8 Years in Power, which was a book which I need to read. I need to actually read it. It was basically about Obama's 8 years as president, and beyond that, he's also written things in regards to reparations, and he's also written things in relations to just a lot of things in terms of the state of the country and how we as people, act, and just the history of our country, period, as a whole. He's a very political writer, very smart, intelligent. So he got on board with Marvel a couple of years ago, and the book that he was writing for was Black Panther. He got put on that book. The first issue sold like hotcakes because, again, he's like a very well-known writer and such, and got put on Black Panther, and for the most part it's been a very good run. I'm liking it. There's, like I said, good and bad, more good than bad, but there's been a lot of he's done a lot of interesting things, and as with anything, sorry about that. As with anything, you take the good with the bad and you run with it. You work with what you're given. So the point is that he's done a lot of good things in terms of writing for Black Panther. He's done some very good ideas and stuff. If I had to describe Ta-nehisi Coates' writing on Black Panther, it's been a mix of the long-form storytelling of Hickman, splice it up with a lot of the political stuff that Christopher Priest did. So you splice that together and you take out all of the problematic stuff that was in Priest's run. I mean, if you read Christopher Priest's run, he had some problematic stuff in that book. You get a really good book and stuff. Like I said, your mileage is going to vary, but once you get, he even admitted as much that the initial 12 issues that he wrote was a bit shaky. And, like I said, I take my fandom out the equation. Sorry, I'm adjusting this. I take my fandom out the equation. And, like I said, I can admit the faults of it. So anyways, so he's coming down on here and stuff, and he's been on the Black Panther book. He also wrote the short-lived Black Panther and the Crew, which I feel was a bit of a misstep, but I think they should have had another writer instead of trying to spread Coates thin, but I digress. I believe he's also rumored, this is just a rumor, to be doing the Storm book. We'll see how that plays out and stuff and anything. So at any rate, he's done a good job with Black Panther, at least to me, and he's written a lot of things for the character in turn. And when I say he's written Black Panther good, it's one of those things where the character in his relationship with Wakanda, they did a very good job of trying to, well, he did a very good job writing wise on Black Panther in terms of really expanding on the mythology of Wakanda and stuff, and just where the country is in relation to Panther and Panther, T'Challa, and just the relationship period and stuff. Because that first arc was basically kind of like Wakanda is just basically fed up with T'Challa and the ruling hierarchy and things like that, and just this whole thing of, hey, where were you, T'Challa? Because, all these women are getting raped and kidnapped and stuff, and what are you doing? You're not doing anything. And that was kind of like the heart. You had the Midnight Angels kind of bucking against Panther and taking care of business and stuff. Things of that nature. So it was actually a very good book. Again, very long-form storytelling, so if you stick with it, you'll love it. So he's really kind of doing a lot of things and opening up Wakanda as a country, and I'm liking it. I'm digging it and such. So as the series continues and such, we get the history of Wakanda now, and the history of Wakanda was basically, hey, as with a lot of civilizations, Wakanda was built off the blacks of slaves, space slaves, alien slaves, I might add. So I like that idea because I mean, let's be real about this. Civilization has always been built off the backs of slaves. There was never any sort of civilization that was perfect in any sort of way. And I know a lot of people weren't necessarily digging that angle that he was going for as much as there's truth to it, because, you know, we as black people, we envision Wakanda as this just perfect place. You know, it was perfect from jump and everything was fine. And if, you know, Coates came in and was like, no, bad news, you know, this country was built off the backs of slaves. And I thought that was actually pretty cool for him to me at least, it was bold to sit there and do, because it throws that mentality that you have about Wakanda being perfect in disarray a little bit now. Because now it's like, this country isn't perfect. It's not, it's almost the same as every other country that you see. And, you know, so people didn't feel it, but I like the story arc and where it was going and stuff. I still got to finish it off and stuff. So right now, in the book currently, they are going in space. This was something that picked up from End of Secret Wars, where Wakanda had a space program and they went out in space. And I believe in the Marvel Legacy issue and such, we find out that Wakanda has an actual space colony and stuff. So now Wakanda's in space now, and they're part of the space empire, apparently, the galactic whole thing now and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting how that goes out, and I'm actually really digging that. So the point I'm saying is, like, Coates has done a lot of good things. He's really touched those things, and like I said, the bad stuff was the stuff with Black Panther and the crew. As much as I thought the series was okay, it could have been better written and stuff, but for the most part, I kind of like the ideas. So at any point, there was a rumor last year going down where apparently, what was it? There was a rumor that Coates could possibly, this is around July last year, I believe, June, July last year, where there was rumored that Coates was going to be writing the Captain America book. And it didn't really get much traction, because I think a lot of stuff that was going down last year, and particularly with Secret Empire and stuff, it kind of went under the rug and such. So I think a lot of people took that rumor with a grain of salt. I do remember seeing a couple of tweets and stuff where people were like, oh, that would be interesting if, you know, Coates actually jumped in the book, and nobody really kind of took it seriously, so whatever. So today, you know, I was on Twitter and stuff, and apparently at a Marvel's retailer, I'm going to keep searching around and stuff, because I'm seeing it on a lot of comic book sites and it's starting to gain traction, so it could possibly be very much true. So apparently at a Marvel little retailers only kind of thing, Marvel basically told a lot of retailers that coming up in July, Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be writing Captain America. And my first thing was like, okay, I am intrigued, because I love Nick Spencer's run on Captain America. I fucking loved it. I loved it from when Remender started it off with, you know, Cap in Dimension Z. He became old Cap, and Sam Wilson took over and stuff, and he was Cap, and then we got Steve back as a young Cap, but, you know, he's doing his own thing. I love Spencer's writing on that from them, because he really kind of nailed a lot of the racial and political stuff that's going on now, and it worked for the book, you know. And I feel a lot of people that didn't like it, it'd be dumb of me to sit there and say, oh, if you didn't like Sam Wilson Cap, you're racist. No, far from it, because you're not. Nobody. I feel if the discussion surrounding Sam Wilson Cap was on the level of like, oh, I just didn't like it, and that was it, I think there could be a discussion to be had here. But I feel a lot of folks, one, you have some people that didn't like the idea of a black guy being Captain America. There are some people out there, black and some white people, actually white people and some black people, that didn't like, they weren't particularly fond of Sam Wilson being Cap. Like, why can he just be his own? And I'm like, you don't understand, because let's be real about this. Looking at it from a business perspective, nobody really gave two shits about Sam Wilson. So how do you elevate him? Oh, you make him Captain America. And it makes sense. You elevate the character and stuff. I mean, hell, if you want a good example of it, DC Comics, right? I know a lot of people love Dick Grayson and Nightwing and all that stuff. They put Dick Grayson in the bat suit, you know, and I loved him as Batman. He came out the bat suit, his fucking profile went through the fucking roof. So Sam Wilson, his fucking shit went through the roof now, you know, and everybody likes Sam Wilson and stuff. Now, I'm not too fond of the current run. It could be written way better than what it is. Way better than what it is. But I digress. You take what you can get, at least for right now. So, the point is, you have a situation where your character, somebody can come in and actually do the character right. And I love Nick Spencer's thing on Sam Wilson and him dealing with how people didn't like him. They basically he played Sam Wilson kind of like Obama, in the sense of Sam Wilson was getting shit for doing the right things, like people saying that's not my cap and that's not my cap, you know, even though Sam Wilson was doing right by the people and things like that, he was literally being bogarted by every which way by everybody, whether it was from Cap when he became evil. He was just getting underhanded by everybody, and it just put him in a position where he was like, fuck this, I don't want to be Cap anymore, this is bullshit. And then he eventually picked up the shield again and stuff like that, and he basically led the charge in overruling Hydra Cap. Meanwhile, Spencer also was writing Steve Rogers' Captain America, and he kind of took over. He basically took something from Assault on Pleasant Hill, the idea of Red Skull making Cap evil, and we get the adventures of Hydra Cap. And Hydra Cap, basically, I loved him. A lot of people didn't like Hydra Cap because a majority of it, big time majority of it, was, I don't think this is the right time to do that. Because, you know, we had Trump and all the bullshit that was happening in the White House and the alt-right and just everything that was happening out there. People really didn't like the idea of Steve Rogers. And let's be quite frank. People kept saying Captain America, even though Sam Wilson was Captain America, but the true colors really hit out there. People didn't like Steve Rogers being evil, which spoke volumes about where people's heads were at on that, because it's like, you got black Captain America right here that is still the symbol of America, but you're mad that the blonde-haired, blue-eyed white dude is evil. Like, what the fuck? Captain America's right there. Sam Wilson, he's Captain America. He's upholding the ideals that you guys say that Captain America is for. Why are you not focusing on that? But we already know what the deal is. We know the jig. And a little bit is, I like MCU, Chris Evans, so people were feeling some sort of way about it. But whatever, I digress. So he really wrote Hydra Cap, and it was kind of like, hey, you nudge Steve Rogers in this direction, this is what you get. Somebody that really feels he knows best for everybody. He ain't quite like, you know, Red Skull evil, because even in his own book, he kills Red Skull on some, yeah, dude, I am just going to rule the world out here. You want to sit there and commit genocide. I'm not for that shit. You know, let's not. We're better than that. And he kills Red Skull for his troubles for that, which I was like, yeah, but it was still kind of like, it's the equivalent to how the KKK and the neo-Nazis have transformed themselves into the alt-right. It's like, hey, we're not gonna say that we hate black people in front of you, but we still hate black people. We still hate minorities, period. You know, that's kind of where the alt-right is and stuff. They're trying to like keep that racism low on some low-key shit, even though that's bullshit. But again, I digress. I felt he wrote a damn good Sam Wilson Cap. I felt he wrote a damn good Steve Rogers Cap, and just showing like, and like I said, again, I really feel him writing both of those books really showed the true colors of a lot of people out here, because the small amount of people that just said, hey, I just don't like it, okay, fine, whatever. But the majority of people showing their asses, like the vitriol and just saying a lot of shit, it's like you really kind of show the true colors on where you stand at. So way kind of away from where Nick Spencer is with the book is kind of annoying to me. So them announcing Ta-Nehisi Coates writing Captain America, I feel it's going to be, I'm of two minds about it. On one end, I feel this could be good. I feel he can write this, he can really write this book and stuff. I'm hoping that since his writing on, I'm hoping that him being on like the Black Panther book and getting that experience, he's gotten a bit better in terms of how he handles storylines and such. So my hope with Ta-Nehisi Coates, if this rumor ends up becoming true, which it looks like all signs are pointing a bit to be true, I'm hoping that he's improved enough to where he can actually write the story he writes and it's not dragging at certain things. So I really hope that he can do that. Two, I feel also too, same token, And as much as I feel this is going to be one of those books that, much like when Nick Spencer, it's going to put Nick Spencer's run of Captain America to shame, in the sense of people were pissed off at Nick Spencer writing both of those books and just throwing in the political stuff. You think people are pissed off then, they're going to be doubly pissed off now, because Ta-nehisi doesn't pull punches when it comes to talking about race and the politically charged stuff in this environment. And I feel this is going to double down on really showing the folks out here who are assholes, who are racist, who do have those undertones of gaslighting people and stuff, and saying a lot of out-of-pocket shit that isn't simply true. You know, I see people online calling Ta-nehisi Coates racist. Like, how is he racist? Like, because he's pointing out truths about society. And that speaks to the volume, that speaks to where we are at in society, is that you have white people out here that haven't really understood the fact that your race of people have basically fucked up society really bad. And until white people actually really see that shit and own that shit and do better, people are going to still talk about it. It's still going to be a topic of discussion, because it feels as though, and I mean, look, if you're white and you hear this and stuff, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the video that either A, you'll listen, or B, you're going to probably troll the video and be like, oh, you're fucking racist and whatever. Personally, I don't give a shit. So, hey, you want to sit there and fucking say your shit of, oh, well, you're racist? I don't give a fuck, because I'm not racist at all, by any stretch of the imagination. I feel calling Ta-nehisi Coates racist is stupid and dumb. It's like, really, where's the basis of his racism at? Oh, and bear in mind, too, the people that are saying that he's racist are white people. Go figure. Go figure. It's white people. So, of course, they're mad that this black guy is talking about race in such a way that they're just feeling uncomfortable. And it's like, well, hey, it's not my fault that white people have basically fucked up this country big time. I mean, shit, white people were the reason why we got Trump. Let's keep it 100% real here. White people are the reason why we got Trump. When you basically got 95% of the black community voting against fucking Trump, what does that tell you? When majority of minorities out here voted against Trump, and you got majority white folks, and the little small 1-2% of minorities that voted for Trump too on top of that, what does that tell you? White people wanted Trump in. So, look, you know, I really feel Coates can do a good job by this. I really hope that he's improved. That's really my only trepidation and my only hesitation, is I hope Coates writes this book well. I want him to do well. I want him to be perfect on this. I want him to really write this book and it be good. So, you know, and I think it also helps the profile too, because, you know, I'm not even going to say Cap got negative press last year. I just think that came from a lot of people that just couldn't understand the aspect of seeing their hero be a bad guy. And they're all like, he's a Nazi. I'm like, well, okay, so you're saying he's a Nazi how? Like, the book was very well written. And then, you know, amidst all this, you have people saying, oh, take the politics out of comic books. And I'm like, why? That's stupid. You know, you're literally telling people to take take politics out of comics. Like, that's stupid and dumb. Like, what are we talking about here? So, you know, like I said, I think people are stupid and they don't understand. Like, politics have always been part of comics. Like, and to me, it just, again, these are the same people showing their asses, and the fact that you just don't like to see progress and change. I mean, look, I'm all for wanting to see good stories. You know, and you can get well-written stories that have a political slant to them. That's always been comic books, period. You know, so, you know, it just baffles me when people say that. And it's like, what are we talking about here? Keep politics out of comics. It's stupid and dumb. But yeah, Coates on Captain America. I am 100% behind it, and I hope that, like I said, I hope he writes it very well. I hope he does a damn good job of it and such. So, yeah. So that's kind of like my thoughts on all this. But if you have any thoughts on this and stuff, just, you know, put your comments down below. You know, and just kind of sound off on where you stand at on it and stuff. You know, thoughts and stuff. Do you think Coates is going to do a good job on it, or do you think it's going to be kind of like, it'd be okay, or do you think it's going to be bad? Sound off below, you know, and keep it civil, you know, and yeah, catch you later. Peace.